Hi guys, and welcome back to my random thoughts. Last episode I had talked to you about just corona things. So I was asking you guys, how are you feeling, if you're able to cope with this time, if you're feeling stuck and isolated, or what are the things you would do when this pandemic ends, what are the things you're longing to do. A lot of you commented on different things, on different aspects of your life. So this week we're going to talk about it, and we are going to think together. Are there going to be any changes when we come out of this time in our society, in ourselves, in our country? Is there any change that needs to happen, and what these changes are going to be? So hang in there, let's watch this episode, and let's talk about what you had to say. When we were talking about life after Corona, a lot of you talked about your job, your family life, spirituality, and a lot more things. So I thought, let me break it down and categorize it into different parts and then read your comments, and together we can discuss this and talk about, is life going to change after Corona? So the first thing, we're discussing about jobs and careers. So Imelda Emmanuel, she said, I am currently working in an MNC and I decided to jump to another company before June ends to enhance my skills and for my career growth, and also, yes, obviously for a good paycheck. I was preparing for my interviews and I did attend an interview which happened virtually and unable to get through it. However, due to this crisis, everything is shut down and I was totally upset how I am going to get a good job. The next comment is by Armstrong, ma'am, very good. I'm a housewife. I do business from my house, taking care of the kids now. Everything is stopped. Please pray. And then one more along the same lines, Baby Hadassah, she says, I'm working in an MNC. I lost my mother 6 months back and now I am trying to change my job because I'm working for less income now. I was planning to do everything before May, but suddenly this pandemic came and I am unable to do anything. And now my family again will force me for marriage. I don't know what to do, just praying that God will help me. After seeing your video, I felt that there is some hope in life. This, I think all of us can relate to, because with this pandemic, it just came at a very inconvenient time in most of our lives. Overnight, a lot of our lives came to a standstill. So the plans, the goals, the places that we wanted to be, whether it was this year or whether in the next couple of years, the plans that we made had all have to come to a stop. So when it came to jobs like promotions, of course it is difficult because you want that income, you want that raise, and there's a certain lifestyle, there's a certain way of living that you want. And when this sudden thing comes in and cuts it out, it is definitely going to cause some kind of inconvenience. But the bigger thing is with that, when there's things like marriage, there's other forces that's going to pile on top of that, insanity or that inconvenience, and it's going to make it even harder. So just trying to deal with it on a daily basis is going to get hard. And also there are so many people like Armstrong, ma'am, who do business, whether it is from their house or do small businesses or do medium scale businesses, employing so many people. Small businesses and medium scale businesses were hit very hard because you have to pay your employees, you have to pay those daily wage workers, you have to pay the migrants who are coming to work for you, you have to pay rent, you have to pay your EMI, your electricity bill, your insurance, and you have to pay yourself and take care of your family as well. When a pandemic like this comes and everything is on a standstill, you don't know how to pay those bills and pay those people and take care of yourself. What kind of decisions are you going to make? Are you going to stay there and say, no, even though mine is not an essential business, I'm still going to run it because I have all these bills to pay? Or are you going to make a wise decision to say this is life that is involved, and are you going to close down everything and just believe that everything is going to be fine? These are all decisions that all of us or most of us had to make when it came to our job, when it came to work, or when it came to our career. Just trying to adapt to this kind of change immediately brought a lot of fear and a lot of frustration to people. So if there's some kind of change, or if there's some kind of thinking that we need to do here, number one is not to fear. number one is not to make our decisions out of fear. At this point, when people have lost their jobs, when people don't have any income, or people don't have that second income coming in, it is important to critically think about your finances. When you don't have money for the next month or the next couple of weeks, where are you spending your money? And more importantly, what are you saving? When you save money in your bank account, when you see that amount in your bank, or when you see that money in the palm of your hand, you will have that confidence to say, okay, I can survive this, I can get through this. And this is one small change that you can make for yourself, to critically think, where do I need to spend? Where do I need to cut corners? What do I need to save? So that you can help yourself, you can help your family, your young kids, and your business as well. So the next one is spirituality and religion, one of the most important things, and the one thing that many of you talked about. So I picked Ruth Sims's comment. She says, "Hi Sharon, I'm right now having that aha moment. One of our pastors have started Hosea Bible study. Basically, we have to meditate on each chapter daily, and he will post his insights on YouTube daily. I don't know why, but I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying reading the book and meditating on it. Also, after this quarantine period ends, my friends and I are going to eat misal pav at a nearby village. Their misal pav is very famous." So yes, a lot of you talked about all the things that you're doing during this time. So whether it is Bible study or praying or fasting, or thinking about eternal life, thinking about am I going to go to heaven? What is going to happen when I die? What about all these things that are happening? Just all of those moral questions and all of those questions in your heart, and questions that are related to your spirit. A lot of you are asking those questions. So there are people who are participating overly in these religious activities. Now hear me out, because faith and fear cannot coexist. So if you are doing this out of fear, if you are spending 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours in a day to participate in these prayers and these fastings and these Bible studies or learning about scriptures, is it because of fear? Are you doing it just to overcome your fear? Or are you bored and that's why you're doing it? Or are you doing it because your parents are telling you to, your friends are telling you to, that is what everybody is doing? Ask yourself, would you really do this? Would you really spend so much time when you come out of this pandemic, when this shutdowns and when this isolation ends? Why are you spending so much time? Is it to truly edify yourself, or is it because you're bored? Because if you really want to renew your faith, if you really want to know what you believe, you have to spend time, and you have to continue that schedule or that routine, or how much ever time you spend when you come out of this isolation, when you come out of this pandemic. If you're just going to do it now and completely cut it all off when you become busy, when you have a routine, when you go back to your jobs, when you go back to having your regular life, if you're going to leave all of this, then it makes absolutely no sense. So yes, it is good that you're asking all these questions related to your soul, related to your spirit, but ask yourself why you're doing it. Do you really want to believe this? And if you are, if you are praying and spending so much time, will you continue the same routine when you come out of this isolation time? So whoever you are, yes, faith is important, but again, faith and fear cannot coexist. So don't invest in these things just because you are fearful, but actually invest in spirituality, in the scriptures, and spend all this time to learn for yourself what the truth is. We're going to talk about physical touch and having a new appreciation for our loved ones and our family members. So the first comment is by Archana Magleen. She said, "I will run to see my family and give a tight hug to my dad, mom, bro, and my sissy because I'm working in hospital as dietitians and no option to go home because I stay in hostel. I thank God that we have no positive cases here, but I still miss my home." I have to take time to thank all the healthcare professionals, doctors and nurses, the physicians, the people who came from different areas to become a general practitioner or to help people who are taking time to, stay in those isolation wards in those places where coronavirus patients are admitted. Healthcare professionals are the true heroes. So thank you guys. Hats off for spending all that time and for really doing the service to save so many lives on a daily basis. The next comment is from Ida Alex. She says, the first thing, I'm longing to see my daughter who is in Canada. Pray that we should be free of this epidemic. Pray that we should be free of this pandemic soon. And then Ria Joe, I miss everything and feel bored and alone. These days of COVID-19, I hope God will stop the virus, and I can't even get a positive vibe in my house. I feel very much sad for this, and day by day, my minds are getting more upset being in a same place and the family is not even connecting to talk or have fun. This is probably the most realist, honest comment I've seen in all of my random thoughts. To just think about, being with your loved one. You think if you're stuck with someone that you love, stuck with family, you would think that you would be all right, but not to be able to connect with them, not to be able to have fun with them, and to feel bored and alone with people you think you love or people who you should love it just adds another layer to the frustration and the just that negative feeling. And on the other side, if you see, there are also people who want to give a hug to their family members, to their loved ones and the people that they miss. So coronavirus has hit all of us in some way or the other, but the feeling of missing someone, the feeling of wanting to be with someone, the feeling of just wanting that physical touch has definitely taken a new meaning for all of us. There are those questionnaires that we see online. Who would you rather be stuck with? I wonder if that answer has really changed for you guys. If you thought, yes, I could be stuck with my spouse, with my kids, with my friends or family members, has that answer changed for you now that you are with them, now that you are able to be with them? Or now that you're not able to be with them, how much do you long to be with them? So even in the future, when we come out of this, I wonder how much physical touch would have changed, or how much people would long and miss the person that they want to be with. I wonder if any kind of technology, and I wonder if any kind of systems will change to bring people closer, or will it actually bring people apart and have no compassion and no trust and no need for that human touch. So I was just thinking about it and thinking about how important it is that we as humans connect with each other, have that compassion and that conversation with each other to keep our minds at peace. The next one is about healthcare. Deepmala BHMS19, she says, Hi Sharon, I stay in Bangalore and I am 7 months pregnant. After 2 months, I'm going to deliver my baby, so feel scared. How will I protect my baby and myself in the hospital? And also, how long the situation will go. Sometimes I get so worried, and every day I pray to Jesus. So, yes, there are coronavirus patients. There are people who have been attacked by this disease. But at the same time, there are also people who are in high-risk situations, whether it is older people, younger people, or people who are pregnant or have some kind of disease that they're living with, some kind of treatment that they need. How will they think about healthcare, or how are they dealing with healthcare, about going to the hospital or going to the clinic? Breathing that air, touching those surfaces, talking to people, interaction with people, the distance that they maintain while seeing and talking to people. When you think about all this, it is just mentally, irritating and frustrating, because there are so many things that you have to think about before going into treatment. 2 weeks before, a month before, you never had to think about it. But now, if you are terminally ill, and if you have some kind of thing that you're expecting and you need treatment for, you need those monthly checkups for, how is that affecting you right now? And how is that going to change in the future when all of this ends? There are also people who are self-medicating, whether it is with just pills and medication or with, too much alcohol or too much drugs or cigarettes or some kind of obnoxious substance. If they are self-medicating just to get over this frustration, just to get over this feeling of overthinking, imagine how they feel. Imagine how they will be able to get out of this. It is just absolutely insane just thinking about it, because living every day in peace is so easy. But what about people who can't live every day in peace? What about people who have all of these things that they have to think about and go into a place where they could potentially get infected? It is just very sad, and I hope these things change when we come out of it. So those are all the things that you guys talked about, and I wanted to add a few of my thoughts as well. So when thinking about the environment and climate change, I am not an environmentalist, but I was just thinking about this as well. Real talk, how many of you actually took a bath every single day? How many of you took a shower every single day? We were talking about hygiene and washing your hands and how all of those protocols are super important, 20 seconds and everything. But were people really taking a shower every day, brushing their teeth and keeping themselves hygienic? How much water was saved? How much electricity was saved just by staying home? And if you think about pollution, there were not many cars on the roads. Most countries were shut down and most cars did not go on the road. So pollution was at an all-time low in most of the countries. There was also a video online where you can see Eiffel Tower from London. And even when you go outside, you can see that there's not much smog, there's not much smoke in the air. You can see the clouds, you can see the sky. And one thing that I personally experienced was at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and even in the evenings and even at night, I heard birds around where I live. I heard all of these, natural sounds and the ambience around me, and which I never knew existed when our lives were busy, when we were going out and working and all of that. So how are you staying in touch with nature during this time? Especially as people of faith, especially as Christians, if you believe in creation and if you value creation, how much are you in touch with nature? Whether it is the waterfalls or the parks or the rivers or lakes, how much are you doing to actually appreciate what is around you, the creation around you? And in this time, what can you do to appreciate climate and the environment and the small things that you do in your house? How can you contribute to making a positive change with the climate? Greta Thunberg, the beginning of this year and for quite a couple of years, being so young, she has been canvassing and she has been raising her voice for climate change. And maybe it's this young girl's heart that, so many positive things have happened for the climate and for weather and so on. But I was just thinking about how one person's innocent dream can come true even in the worst of circumstances. So how are you consuming water? How are you consuming your daily activities? And will you continue that when quarantine ends? Another thing I was thinking about was technology. The last couple of years, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, robotics, and so much technology, big technology has been very prevalent and has been trickling down to our everyday lives. Big CEOs, big billionaires, and all of them have been, been starking on all of these big adventures, like going to other planets, creating all of these toys, creating all of this tech so that it'll make our lives easier, and honestly also to get so much private information out of us. But were they really able to help us during this pandemic? Were they really able to save us? And were they really the heroes during this pandemic? Or were they able to be heroes? Were they able to contribute anything to soothing our lives, contributing to our daily lives and making it easier for us? if you really think about it, it was the medium-sized business or the small apps or the smaller businesses that really helped us. Zoom played a major role in all of our lives and most of our lives, whether it is the teachers being able to teach the kids online and keeping the knowledge going, or having these self-help classes for mothers and for parents to bring a routine, make up a schedule and be a good parent, or for work from home for all the staff and the employees to keep the conversation and keep the work going. Or also all of these small apps, these video calling apps and these games that helped all of us connect with people who we might not have talked to in so many years, or just keeping the calm and being able to keep us all at peace and connect us while we are freaking out or being in fear during this pandemic. It is really the small businesses, and it was the most unexpected tools that help us get through our daily lives even during this pandemic. So just think about how important innovation is, and think about, if you are creating a product or a service or some kind of technology, what is the need that it is filling? And is it filling a need even during emergency times? Is it really helping people? What is the kind of money that is going into it? And when recession, or next is we're getting into all of these times when stock markets are going down, when the economy is down, how is your business or how is your product or service going to be helping people in those times? This is the perfect time to be thinking about it and investing in it and making your product a resource to help normal people, everyday people, get through times like this. And the next one, and the most important one, I was thinking about the government. During this time, who was truly patriotic? Who was truly listening to local authority? And at the same time, was local authority, was the national authorities, were they all helping people really cope with the uncertainties during this time? Were they really helping their citizens? We as citizens, we vote for different people. Sometimes we vote just to get rid of, let me just finish this, let me just get this responsibility out of the way. But in times like this is when you seriously have to think about how our voting plays an important role. As citizens of each country, that is a weapon that is installed in our hands, in the palm of our hands. And it is important to know the policies that each person believes in. And this is the perfect time that has exposed what each politician or each government believes in, what kind of government they are. Are they really strapped for emergencies? Which country did best? Which country did not do best? It is not to criticize the people in authority, but it's a time to think critically about who did well and what should we as citizens do when this kind of crisis happens again. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but when there's an emergency, when there is this time to get up and strap ourselves and to keep going, what are we as citizens doing to be a good citizen, be a good civilian? And when we have to vote, when it is time to vote, when it is time to make our voices heard, are we voting for the right people? The people with positive policies that will help every civilian, whether they're rich, they're poor, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of all of the tensions that are happening right now. Will this public authority help all kinds of citizens? So this is something that we really need to think about right now. Research who is in authority, who is doing well, who is not doing well, what kind of change should we as civilians bring in our society. And when it comes time to vote, you will be ready. And I also wonder what kind of policies that governmental authorities need to be changing when another emergency happens, or when the stock market is crashing like this, when the economy is taking a hit. How are they going to help citizens? How are they going to help small businesses? How are they going to help parents? How are they going to help migrants? How are they going to help daily wage workers? If we as citizens join together and make people responsible when they're in authority, then definitely we can bring a change. Yes, of course, this is a lot to think about, but I think and feel this is very important, especially when we are in a time like this. We have a lot of time, we have a lot of space even in our heads to think about, to critically think about the things that we need, instead of letting fear creep into our hearts and fear dictate the things that we think about. We can sit down and think, if we are people who are spiritual, where are we investing our time? If we are people in the government and if we have the option to vote, who are we voting for? Are we being people, strong people and good people in authority? And whether it comes to our jobs or businesses, the tech that we innovate, the things that we do on a daily basis, is it harming us or is it helping the people around us? And the most important thing that I hope and pray and wish that will happen is that people will become kinder and more polite and compassionate when we cross this bridge and come out of the whole coronavirus pandemic. I just wish that people will long for community. They will be more gracious and kind, whether it is to their family members, to people who are on the streets, to new people that they don't know. I just wish that compassion will just come out of them, because I think that is one of the most important things that we humans can easily practice that no other species can. So that is what I would like to have, to see when we come out of this. And of course, you will have different wishes and thoughts to how we should become better people when we come out of this coronavirus. So go ahead and comment below. Let me know what you think. We talked about different aspects on this episode. And I know that we all want to be free. We all want to go back to our routines, but please do think about what is going in your heart, what is going on in your mind, because it is important to renew your mind and your heart during this time. When we have a lot of time, when we are trying to adapt to this time, it is really important that we renew our hearts and our minds. So comment below, let me know what you think, and soon we will see freedom. So stay home, stay safe, and I will see you on the next episode of Random Thoughts.